Hello. Sorry for the late start again. I yeah, I had to take a another shift today, unexpectedly. uh, and weekends tend to be a lot busier and a lot more to handle. Just because that's when we get our big rushes. Um, so yeah, that caused me to push things back, but I am here, and I'm going to just hop into uh, Twisted again and just kind of see what ending I get tonight. Um, Again, for anybody new tuning in, I have played this before, but you know, it was when I went through all the endings or all the endings that I could find previously, um, it was a while ago. So I cannot guarantee finding a specific ending, um, or what endings are going to show up. Um, so far, if you've seen my recent replays of it, I got an ending um, for Twist and an ending for Anna. And tonight, I think I'm going to do, or at least attempt to, try to do a run through of choosing options where the main character is not trusting of either one, and see what ending shows up through that. I am not sure I've unlocked all the endings previously, because I thought I did, but there seems to be some confusion about that, whether there's 12 endings or 13 endings, um, or whether things are a little um, hidden or bugged or um, yeah, I'm not sure. So, um, but let me actually, it would help to actually pull up the audio first. Okay. And again, sorry if I'm not sounding great. The screen up. Oh, I have to actually readjust. There we go. Um, Yeah, it seems like there's something going around, so a lot of people are getting sick lately. Um, but I hope anybody out there is doing okay, staying as well as they can. And I'm gonna start the game. It is a dark fantasy game, so again, for anybody new, it does deal with um, basically some cute designs of a deer-like people in a dark fantasy world with a plague and uh, all that that ends up turning uh, kind of the woods into a dangerous area full of carnivorous beings. So there is some, um, body horror aspects to the game, but nothing too overwhelmingly graphic. And let's see, so these are the two previous runs I did recently. So we're just gonna start again for tonight's run. I'm alone. The trees around me twist towards the sky, the way the flowers in Mother's window box do in spring. The branches seem unnaturally long, unnaturally dark. The moon's in the sky, but none of the light seems to reach the ground. When I look up, I can see it through crisscrossed fingers of bark, but staring straight ahead, I can barely see an arm's length in front of me. There have been times when no one else was with me. Even still, they were always just in the other room, just out the door, just down the street. Few friends, small family, watchful neighbors. Not anymore. I'm alone. The air smells like dead leaves and something sour I can't name. There's no sound here, not even birds. It's so quiet. Every rustle of my clothing makes me flinch. But I'm not scared. In this place, being alone is the best thing I could possibly be. I look over my shoulder and stare hard at the way I came. If I squint enough, I think I can almost see my mother's face, hear her voice. Go. Go. You must. You must go, and you must not come back. I never thought I could regret confiding in my mother. She's the brightest woman in the village and the kindest. That's why the elders rely on her. That's why I know I can trust her with anything. Yet I am alone. I face forwards again, eyes scanning the trees ahead. I'm alone. I'm safe. The woods are enormous. It won't find me. I say this aloud, needing to hear the words. Then I say it again. It won't find me. I take a breath and don't think about what will happen if my words don't hold any truth. What will I do? Where will I go except not back? There's nothing outside the village but the trees, the dark, and the monster. My next step feels like I made it while wearing bricks tied to my shoes. My cloak weighs 1,000 stones. My bag weighs 1,000 more. My hand itches. I cradle the appendage to my chest, keeping my eyes averted and instead focusing on not back. I'm thirsty. There must be water. Or maybe not? Does a monster need water? There are no birds, no squirrels. I haven't even heard a single insect. It's like all life in these woods has fully submitted to the beast that lurks in its depths. I miss the birds. I'm thirsty. I don't know where I am, but it doesn't matter because it's not back. My hand itches. I don't scratch. How long have I been walking? The moon has risen and fell and risen and fell and risen and fell. I'm tired. I'm afraid to stop. I'm thirsty. I'm alone. The sound of crisp leaves crunching underneath my feet is my only companion. It reminds me of early autumn mornings, the satisfying ache of chores and him. Is this how he felt before he died? No, he wasn't alone. I'm lucky for now. When I stop being lucky, when it finds me, maybe I'll see him again. The teachings say we'll all meet once more in the after. The elders are never wrong. I stop walking to try and listen for water. There's got to be water. I strain my ears, flare my nostrils. All I smell is the unfamiliar. All I hear are footsteps. The muscles in my body tense in bunches. My calves, my thighs, my back, my arms, my shoulders. I'm not alone. The footsteps get half a beat faster, and I force my body into action. I'm thirsty, I'm tired, I'm not alone, and if I don't run, I'm dead. I've never been very strong or very fast. I work with my hands, delicate work, crafting. My hands are deft tools. My feet are clumsy blocks of flesh attached to the ends of me. I shouldn't be so startled. I knew what I would find coming into the woods. My mother knew what I would find, and she still pushed me out the gates. I can't cry. I have to run. The footsteps behind me get faster. Then there are footsteps in front of me. I skid to a halt. There's nothing outside the village but the trees, the dark, and the monster. Growls replace the footsteps. The two sets of footsteps. I look left, right. Left is a log. Right is a thin thicket of trees. I go left. Scrambling inside the dark bark, I scrape my knees and elbows. I don't feel the pain. Not beyond the confusion. I can barely feel fear. There's a hole in the log and I press my face to it. The space I was standing only a few moments ago explodes into life. A huge dark something slides into view. Massive spikes jutting out of its back, its head. The monster. It's grotesque. It's horrible. It's hulking, figure is broader on top, but it walks on all fours. It brings with it a terrible stench. Finally, I realize what the smell has been this whole time. Blood. Then, from the other side, another creature bursts into view, slams into the monster like it has no control over its momentum. The bark around me trembles, and I realize it's from my body shaking. The creature is huge, dark, spiked, grotesque, horrible. Another monster. Another monster? The two monsters scuffle over one another before seeming to lose interest, and one lifts its nose toward the moon. In the dim light, I see a glint of sharp, sharp fangs. Monsters. I'm not alone. It takes only seconds before I realize they're looking for me. The one not scenting kicks its feet against the ground, turns and looks directly at the log. Our eyes meet. What I can see of its eyes in the dark, a pinprick of mottled yellow inside great glaring pits of black. I close my eyes. Honorable ancestors, hear my prayer. Friends past, I come to meet you. The footsteps come closer. The ground shakes. A terrible howl fills the air. It's a howl I've heard in my nightmares, a howl I've heard in the village, walking through the streets, pumping water. Faint in the distance, a warning. The monster. No, another monster. 3 of them. How many more are there? I open my eyes and stare out the hole. I'm just in time to see a creature larger than both of the ones before barrel into them. The area quakes with the force of it. 3 go crashing into something out of my line of sight, but I can hear the sound of a tree bowing and thrashing into the ground. The growling grows louder, wet. I have to move. I wriggle free of the log, dragging, pushing myself free. When my lower half is out, I crouch behind the log and risk a glance over. The larger monster sinks his teeth into another's shoulder. It howls loud enough to make my ears ring, and I scramble back, quivering so hard I can't feel the ground. Blood, black in the moonlight, spills on the leaves. The larger monster rips into the other 2, like a dog into a child's doll. With the last of my strength, I push myself up before it can do the same to me. I run, and the only footsteps I hear are my own. Monsters. Monsters. 3, maybe more. And they eat each other. They would eat me. One monster was bad enough. One monster stole people from their beds at night. One monster lurking in the woods, taunting us with the knowledge that the only safe place is behind the village walls. Now there are monsters plural. There are monsters, and my mother told me to go and not come back. I want to believe it's a good reason. I can't. I smell water, faint, but it's there. A stream. Maybe the same one that runs through the village. It smells like hope. Eventually, I have to stop running. My legs are numb, and the clumsy appendages on the ends of them are throbbing in protest. I glance down, and my heart stops when I see a large hole in the side of my bag. I drop to my knees, taking inventory. One loaf of bread, one apple, one piece of jerky, one bar of sweet chocolate, an extra pair of clothes, a bar of soap, my needle and thread, my flask. It's all there. Relief floods through me so suddenly it starts spilling out of my eyes. I inhale sharply but can't get enough air. I have to be quiet, but I can't stop. Alone. I'm alone and I'm not safe. And my mother told me to go and not come back because my hand itches. I pick up the flask and take a long drink. I was supposed to save it, but I can't breathe. The lukewarm water wets my parched throat and gives a little clarity to the jumbled thoughts beneath my antlers. I'm able to be quiet. I scan the trees around me, but there are no footsteps, no growls. I'm lucky. I can't afford to be so careless again. I take my bag and move over to a thick tree, curling up the base as if the spot is any safer than any other. I pull out needle and thread and begin to take care of the hole. The repetitive motion slowly settles my shaking hands. I prick myself on purpose. It's familiar. It's good. I do it again. Instead of watching the spot that itches, I focus on the drop of blood smeared over my thumb as I work. I take my time. When I finish, all that's left is more walking, more trees, more fear. I'm so tired. I want to sleep. Would that be safe? If I could find a place? No, I should keep moving. Exhaustion is difficult to bear, but it's not death. Does it even matter? There's nowhere else to go. This forest is my world now. Mm, let's see. Let's try that one. It doesn't matter. If I keep going as I have been, I'll die anyway. My body needs rest. I stand, finding that keeping myself upright is much more difficult than before I sat down. On a whim, I turn and look up at the tree. Not far above me is a hollow in the twisting bark. Large, dark. I'm tossing my bag up before I make a decision whether to use it or not. I hear my bag land with a hollow sounding thump. I can't see it from where I stand. The space must be deeper than it appears from the outside. Good. The monster won't find me. The monsters won't find me. I reach up to the edge of the hollow, jumping up to give myself the boost I need. My arms support my weight for only a few seconds before I crash back to the ground with a grunt. Come on, Sage. I jump again, this time managing to keep my grip for longer than a few seconds. I pull myself up, but it feels like my arms are going to quiver apart from the strain. Come on, Sage. You've come this far. You're alive. You're alone, and there are monsters, but you're alive. You haven't come this far just to roll over. Come on, Sage. With a gasp, I drop down into the hollow, landing on my shoulder and knocking my hip, but feeling nothing but relief. When I open my eyes, I'm shivering, and the faint light that had settled over me like a blanket has been replaced with darkness. I fumble for my bag, flask, and instead feel a puddle. The top must have come open when I threw it. I expect to feel distraught, but instead I don't. It's fine. I smelt water earlier. It'll be fine. I'm alive. For 10 heartbeats, I quiet my breathing and listen to the world outside my safe spot. Quiet. I'm alone. I take only the flask and risk leaving my bag as I clamber out of the hollow. My feet hit the ground harder than expected, and I stumble, wrappings covering my soles slipping up into my instep. It doesn't matter. There's hardly any protection against twigs and pebbles. After taking one last chance to listen, smell, and look, I start off in the direction of the water, nose to the wind. The water grows stronger the further west I go. The moon is back in the sky, gleams down on my face like I'm an old friend. It's feeling agreeable tonight. I can see more than 4 steps ahead of me. The trees are thinner here. My stomach aches for food, but I haven't dared eat what little I have in my bag, not yet. Not until it feels like my body's eating itself from inside out for lack of sustenance. The way to the river is blocked by fluffy bushes as tall as me. It takes a while to get there. Not because it's far, because every so often I have to stop and make sure the footsteps do too. Finally, the gentle burbling of a stream reaches my ears. They twitch towards the noise, and the rest of my body follows. The sight of the water lifts the weight that had settled on my shoulders. My cloak is a feather. I collapse next to the stream and dip my entire head inside. Despite the way the woods smell, despite what lives here, the water is crisp and cool, and even better than what we have in the village. I surface with a gasp and shake my head free of the excess water. After getting to rest, I feel like I've stepped through a thick fog and come out the other side, bruised but not broken. I take my flask and dip it into the stream. Once it's full, I drink a little more before refilling and closing it carefully. Thirst slaked, I turn to look at the moon. Instead, I see a figure further down the stream bed, great spikes jutting from their body, silhouetted in the moonlight. I stay very still. It doesn't move for 4 heartbeats. On the fifth, I turn and scurry away, keeping low to the ground. When I reach the hollow, I climb back in and press myself against the tree bark, like if I do it hard enough, I might be able to merge with it. I don't move until the light of morning. The trees end. One moment they're there, the next they're simply not. That hits harder than multiple monsters. The sudden daylight without the cover of trees is blinding. The sun is quivering in the sky. I'm tired, sore, and I stand at the edge of the world. It takes minutes before I can convince myself to step out from under the trees. One step, then another, then 10. I run out into the brown-green plain spread out in front of me, eyes wide as I can get them. I need to see everything. In the far distance, farther than I can walk in 7 suns, there are more trees. Closer, on top of a small hill, I see buildings. Buildings. It's not the village. It can't be. There's no wall. I thought there was nowhere else to go. Now that there is, I feel more frightened. I know I shouldn't. The elders were wrong about the monster. They were wrong about the forest. Buildings means people. How can they live here so close to the woods? With no protection? Who are they? There's nothing outside the village but the trees, the dark, and the monster. It takes the better part of the day to reach the buildings. Most of them are falling apart. The Knot Village is mostly built like a grid. It reminds me of the village in an odd way. The roads are mostly dirt, just a few stones interspersed throughout, rather than the crisp cobblestone streets back home. My footsteps disturb the dirt, and it feels like I'm treading on something that matters. Further in, there's a large circle of buildings, and in the center, the largest structure yet. Were it not for the lines of age running down the walls, I would have thought it made recently. I reach out and touch the stone. It feels like sacrilege. I can't ever go back to the village. No one's ever left before. No one who wasn't taken by the monster. Monsters. No one's allowed to leave. No one can leave. My mother risked punishment by the elders by getting me through the gates. I'll never know if she was caught. More rested, less panicked. I believe that my mother had a reason for pushing me out. My hand itches. Finally, I pull off my gloves, staring hard at the black rash spreading over my wrist. You're never supposed to scratch. Mother never said anything about what you are supposed to do, though. She's a healer, but she didn't even give me a cream to rub over it. Something like what she used on him after he fell into the polly bushes. I made him gloves to wear after that. He never took them off. Something like a smile shifts my lips. My hand itches. I sigh and pull the glove back on. A distraction. There's plenty to distract me. A whole new world. I walk to the doors of the stone building, reaching out and pushing. My first try does nothing but make dust flake down onto my nose. I push again harder and the door grinds open. There are rows and rows of decomposing cushions spread over the floor, patterned with stones. They might have been brightly colored once, but now they are all dull and dusty. The wooden pillars supporting the roof have elaborate carvings on them. The most interesting thing is the wall near the front, where it feels like the altar would be. There are larger than life pictures drawn on it, words and glyphs that are strange to me. And at once recognize them and don't. They look as familiar as they do odd. I squint and move closer. Separation. Maybe. Could be break or maybe destroy. There's something wrong with the character. I look over the rest. Here, that one's clear enough. Pride or maybe honor. Family or acquaintances or mentors. It's frustrating. None of the lines are quite right. Foolishness. Who are you? The voice echoes in the room. I whirl around and stumble back into the mural hard enough to make my head jerk painfully against the stone. I wince but don't move. There's someone. Where did she come from? No, she had come from the village, but when? She's not like me, sweaty, haggard, dirt-stained. She's clean, pure. Her priestess's robes don't have a single wrinkle, and her eyes are sure and kind. The staff she's carrying makes my nerves settle. I have to be safe with someone holy. I'm Sage. I'm Sage. How did you... How did you make it out of the woods? How did she find this place? Why did she leave the village? There are too many questions and not enough room in the sentence to ask. Sage. Nice to meet you, Sage. She bows low enough that I worry her antlers will scrape the floor. Then she straightens and steps towards me. Her eyes flick from my greasy hair to my dirt-stained clothes and scraped up knees. Of all things to feel right now, self-conscious shouldn't be one of them. My name's Anna. Anna. Her name sounds like her, somehow. Fresh and clean. Now, where exactly did you come from? Where did I... the village. Anna watches me. The village. Yeah, where else? Where are you from? Is this... Is this where you live? Are there others here? Anna abruptly laughs, a brief high sound. The lingering sweetness vibrates like a bell in the air before disappearing as she stops. Of course not. Does it look like anyone lives here? She can't mean there are other places, other buildings, other people. There's nothing outside the village but the trees, the dark, and the monster. The familiar chant makes me feel foolish. So, you come from this village to here. Why? Why? Where to begin? I curl my fingers lightly into my palm. Last time I told someone about the strange something creeping toward my wrist, I was told I had to go and not come back. But I've already gone. I look at Anna, whose fingers twist curiously through her hair. I, ran away. It's not that I don't trust her. She's a priestess, and the only other person I've seen in ages. But I can't help being afraid. If showing my mother my hand could make her so very frightened, I don't want to risk scaring off Anna as well. A soft frown curves her lips that look just as soft, and she tilts her head. Oh, I see. I'm surprised you made it through the woods as you are, with all the thorned. Thorned? I'm looking for the Alpha. You didn't happen to see it while you were going through, did you? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Anna lets out a short huff. You couldn't have missed them. They're not exactly quiet. She tilts her head, a small furrow appearing between her brows. Then again, if you're still alive, maybe you got lucky. Those... the monsters? They're called Thorned? Well, we have to call them something, don't we? They're certainly not people anymore. Time slows down. Not people anymore? Not people anymore? You're not wrong to call them monsters. There's only so much I can do at that stage. My hand itches. I can't stop trembling. It can't be what's happening to me. It can't. I can't turn into one of those things. I can barely breathe. I understand now why I must not come back. My mother was not trying to protect me. She was trying to protect the village. Are you all right? What would this priestess do if she knew what was wrong with me? She said she was looking for the Alpha, whatever that is. Surely she doesn't think favorably of these Thorn. Who would? I'm a monster. No, I'm, I'm only guessing. I don't know, not for sure. I don't want to know. I'm fine. Oh, good, good. As I was saying, the Alpha, did you see it? I'm not sure what it is. The big one. It's the oldest, the most twisted. I've been testing spells in these parts for ages. I want to test it. The Alpha would be the perfect subject. It should be twisted enough not to proof out on me on my first attempt. The big one. I did see a large thorn. It ate two other ones. Got you. Well, I wasn't expecting to see anyone around here, but I imagine you'd make an excellent apprentice. Spellcasting takes a lot of energy, you know. Much easier when you're not alone. When you're not alone, everything feels like it's spinning. There's also the matter of the runes. I'm positive they're around here somewhere, but searching the entire eastern half of the woods has proven fruitless. Who knows what I might learn from those? The ancestors had to have a better idea how to deal with twisting. Not that my own attempts haven't had their success, mind you. I can barely comprehend anything. Anna continues talking for a moment longer before I take a stumbling step back, and she blinks, straightening. Are you all right? I'm sorry. I'm not feeling very well. Oh, that's no good. I can't have my new apprentice in less than tip-top shape. Her eyes smiled at me first, then her mouth. It is a house that's still in relatively good condition that you could rest in. I'm not sure I want to go hunting the Alpha Thorn, monsters who used to be people. I'm not sure I can just sit idle, and it could be the key to a lot of questions. The house Anna directs me to only has a partly intact roof, but the walls and the illusion of privacy make it all too easy for me to drift off. I'm still exhausted from traveling. Hearing what Anna has to say didn't help. Thorned, I clutch my hand tightly to my chest, a tremble running through me. I don't feel any different. I'm not a monster. I'm me. How does one become thorned? Why? I was too frazzled to ask. There's so many things I don't understand, but my thoughts won't focus on anyone. I don't want them to. I just want to sleep. I want to dream and pretend I'm back home, back in the village, back behind the wall. There are no walls here. I doze on and off until finally falling into a deep sleep. In my dream, it's dark. It's cruel. I can't escape the darkness even as I sleep. I'm walking. I'm sure of it, but the black is so complete that there's no indication if I'm moving forward or back, up or down. And then I see him. A man. His back is to me. I try to pass him, but I can't. Then he turns. He has no face. Or maybe he does, but I can't focus on it. Oh, oh, that's not any way to greet someone. All I wanted was a pleasant dream. You can understand me. You're speaking plainly. I try to move forward again, but I can't. The no-faced man turns around again, showing me the back of his head. I haven't spoken to anyone in a long time. It's only a dream. Only a dream. As if dreams can't be more than what they are. I only wanted to see something pleasant. I'm tired of the dark. The man looks over his shoulder at me. A rueful smile twists his lips. Me too. I stop trying to move. If I'm to be stuck here, then so be it. At least I'm not alone. Why haven't you spoken to anyone in so long? He hums. It's not that I don't speak, more they don't listen, I think. I see. I don't. But you do. He takes a step closer, and his face is almost clear. I see the angle of his sharp jaw. You can listen. I'm listening. No, I mean really listen. He takes another step closer, and I have to crane my neck back to meet his eyes. I don't understand. I only wanted a pleasant dream. There's something intriguing about this man, enigmatic. He feels like a stranger I've known my whole life. Do you want to? I want to understand a lot of things. Let me see you then. The man reaches out, rests his fingers on my forehead. Such a bizarre touch, I'm too confused to move away. If I could move. His eyes, I can see them now. He has tired eyes, weary like a hunting dog, years past its prime. His fingers are long and cold. They send a tremor through me. Meet me at the end of the woods. I will show you not all dreams are simply dreams. The man steps out of the darkness. I'm not sure where he goes, only that he's gone. Then I open my eyes. Normally my dreams flee when I wake, like fish when you wade in a stream. This one I remember, partly. Meet me at the edge of the woods. I remember the words, but everything about the man, his face, if ever I saw it, the color of his hair, slipped from my grasp. It's the middle of the night. I run a hand over my forehead. Maybe in my imagination, but I swear there are 3 cold spots where his fingers were. What if it wasn't a dream? I don't have to go into the woods. There are no monsters out here. I stand lifting my cloak, placing it over my shoulders. The walk out of the Knot Village feels a fraction less lonely than the walk in. I can see the trees in the distance, tall and dark, their branches reaching towards me. With every step I take, they stretch closer. Who was he, I wonder? He seemed genuinely happy to see me, that I was listening. Meeting Anna after so long alone has me starved for company, chasing after strange men from dreams who barely speak any sense. Ahead, a shadow catches my eye, and I drop down to the grass. Just in the trees, I see a huge shape prowling, searching. The Alpha. It killed those two Thorn. Did it track me all the way to the edge of the woods? Hmm. Let's see. If it really wasn't a dream, then the man is out here somewhere, and he's in danger. I suck in a deep breath, cautiously pushing myself to my feet. Has the monster gotten him already? Was it really just a dream? I can't go back without making sure. I keep closer and closer, doing the best I can not to draw attention to myself. In a wide open field under the light of the moon, this is not an easy feat. I avoid the shadowy figures slinging through the trees, staying as close as I dare and searching for someone whose face I don't know. I strain my eyes in the darkness, but no figure makes themselves known. A howl cuts through the night sky. A monster celebrating its kill? My body goes cold, starting in my fingers and traveling down to my toes. Abandoning all thoughts of stealth, I turn and scramble back to the Knot Village as fast as I can. Either it was just a dream, or he's beyond my help. Anna wants me to help her search for the Alpha. If I could help it, I'd never go in those woods again. But my hand itches. I have to know why. There's nothing I can do about it. I have to at least know why. Anna's a priestess, but she was talking about the thorn like they were experiments. She doesn't seem to know exactly what she's doing. The way she said that, she'd be twisted enough not to poof out on the first attempt. They're monsters, but these to be people. It seems cruel to treat them so callously. Thinking back to her words, I remember she mentioned there were runes in the woods. Runes that might have answers. I don't want to go around monster hunting, but hunting for information might just be worthwhile. I lasted all that time in the woods by myself. I'll be alright if I'm careful. I'll go by myself in the morning before Anna leaves. I take a deep breath in as I wake. The musty air around me fills my lungs. Rolling onto my back, I place a hand onto the dust-covered ground and push myself up with little effort. My eyes flutter open. The dusky, unfamiliar room fills my vision. The reminder that this is not my home fills my head. I take only a moment to grieve the loss of my old life before finally standing. One last look around tells me that there's nothing of note in the hut, so I turn to the door and step into the new day. Dewy grass caresses my sore feet. Cool water sends chills up my legs. The trees in the distance are menacing, reminding me of the terror-filled night before, the promise of what lingers. Monsters, multiple. I don't want to believe the elders would lie to us, but I saw them with my own eyes. Thinking of the monsters causes me to waver for a second. Anna knows how to get to the ruins. Anna could help, but she can't be trusted. I have to figure this out myself. I briefly remember the man from my dream in the forest alone. I allow myself a few moments of fear and push them away and continue on. Just be careful. If I'm careful, I'll be alright. Mother always taught us to be careful, though he rarely was. I caressed my hands, smiling as I remember all the times I had to stitch his clothing back together. He was always falling and ripping them. My feet pressed against the soft foliage in the field. Then after some time, tough forest floor. Roads in the village were dirt, soft against my skin. Here there is no such luxury. The pebbles and twigs dig into my feet, stabbing my soles. My heart begins to pound as the familiar stench of the forest reaches my nose. The stench of blood, suffocating, filling my nose until nothing else exists except for decay. It's quiet, dark, quiet, dark. All I hear are my footsteps echoing in the lonely forest. An itch in the back of my mind tells me something's wrong. Every step I take echoes back to me louder. Echoes? That isn't right. I move quicker, my mind reeling as I realize what the echoes mean. Extra footfalls have joined mine. I briefly scan the area as I move quicker. I see a nearby bush. There's nothing else. I dive toward it. I gasp for breath, my attempts to silence myself failing. My heart is racing, pounding so loud I'm sure the monster can hear it. Is this it? I should have gone to Anna. Anna could have helped. Anna could have. You came. A gravelly voice comes from behind the bush. A voice? Another person? It isn't Anna. Her voice is pure, soft. This voice is as deep and rough as the forest around us. Is it the man from my dream? Has he been waiting for me this entire time? How did he survive? I turn my body, looking up through the leaves, and my stomach drops. I feel sick. The monster. The monster, the Alpha. I thought you were not going to come. It speaks again. I gape. My mouth dries as I stare up at the monster. Shock courses its way through my entire body. Before I can think, I'm running, moving on my own through the twisted trees around me. My clumsy feet slap against sticks and stones, so I don't get far as I'd like. Within a moment, with no sound to prepare me, I'm being tackled to the ground. I land with a thud, a scream. The monster's on top of me. This is it. This is your end, Sage. The monster grabs my arm in its long, thin hand and flips me around to face it. Its face is close to mine. So close. I tremble beneath it, too afraid to do anything. Fight, Sage, fight! My mind screams, but my body is paralyzed. A low, guttural growl comes from the beast. This is it. I slam my eyes shut, not wanting to stare the monster in the eye as it kills me. My mind returns to Anna. She could have helped me. She could have. My panicked thoughts are cut short by a rough, wet feeling running up my neck. My eyes shoot back open at the unusual feeling. It's licking me. My mind snaps back to reason. I slam my hands up to the monster's antlers and push as hard as I can. You are starting to twist. His voice rings out next to my ear as his breath dances across my nose. It smells of blood and decay. I stop struggling, feeling small against the heavy voice of the monster. Twist? It moves off me with a grunt. Like me. Its voice is slow, almost hard to understand. Like you? My voice comes out weak and shaky. I feel myself starting to tremble again as I move to stand, my eyes never leaving the monster. He stares at me unmoving. Green glowing eyes, thin long body, huge twisted antlers. A roar echoes out the woods behind us, and his head snaps up to where it came from. With me. What? Come. He lets out a grunt and grabs my arm, his hands rough as bark. His pace is quick, his back heavily hunched as he walks. Where are we going? He doesn't say anything. What are you? Questions race through my head. I can't keep myself from blurting them out. Nothing outside the village except trees, the dark, and the monster. My eyes look back towards the place I'd left for a second, but only a second. Rays of sun break through the leaves, leaving spattered patterns of light on the floor. There's nothing outside the village except the monster. My breath hitches and my eyes burn. The monster keeps walking. Are you going to answer me? I feel bold. It hasn't hurt me so far. His grip, though firm, isn't painful. You are not safe. Any words I could have mustered up next leave me. Is he caring for me? Or threatening me? It's hard to tell. I move faster to match his pace, curiosity beating out any of my other feelings. Fear, common sense, the pain of my tender feet. What is he? What happened to you? My mind reels for a minute, remembering what he said moments ago. What's happening to me? He has an answer. Where are we going? You told me you want to understand. Frown crosses my face at the non-answer. Where are you taking me? I try to sound firm, though my voice comes out meek. I'm taking you to where they are left. They? Who's they? He has an answer. Leaves and twigs crunch beneath his heavy steps. I pull my arm back in protest, but he only tightens his grip and pulls harder. You're hurting me. His grip loosens again, but he hasn't stopped moving. I let out a sigh. There's no point in fighting him. He'll win no matter what. Following along complacently, my mind drifts off. It goes far away, it goes back to the village. The village I've called my home for my entire life. The village with giant wooden walls, a smooth cobbled path. The village has covered with lush green grass, flowers of every kind in small stone huts. The village where it's safe. My mind goes to my mother, and I can only pray that she's okay. She shouldn't have made me leave. Nobody just leaves. If the elders found out, she could get into trouble. My eyes travel up the gnarled back of the monster in front of me. I wonder what Mother would think now, seeing me traveling with this beast. Then I think of him. My heart grows sad at the thought of him, of Brad. I sigh heavily and shake my head. He disappeared so long ago, Sage. You can't be sad forever. No matter how many times I tell myself this, my chest still aches. We walk for a long time. So long the sun has begun to set. My clumsy feet grow ever more tired and my mind becomes weary. I'm tired. He stops immediately. I almost stumble into the antlers that twist around his back. You will rest. He sits down without even surveying the area. I don't think this is a safe place to sleep. He turns his head, eyes locked with mine. Then he stands back up. I will follow you then. I nod slowly. Looking around, I see a small cliff with an overhang that would provide a small amount of cover. Better, at least, than the open woods. Over here. I gather up leaves as we walk toward the overhang, hoping to have enough to make a bed. I can feel the monster's eyes on my back as I gather foliage. Then I hear a rustling noise behind me. I turn my head and see the monster has bent over and began collecting leaves as well. He stands again, his eyes bore into me as if waiting instructions. In his hands are 3 small piddly leaves. I shake my head and walk toward our destination. Once I find a suitable sleeping place, I lay my leaves down to form a pillow and a small amount of bedding. I wasn't able to hold as many as I would have wanted, but this will be better than nothing. I glance over to the monster and watch as he drops 3 leaves onto the ground. He turns to me again, then steps on the leaves and sits down. Can't help but let her snort before nuzzling into my leaf pillow. Good night. I go to say his name and pause. He doesn't have a name, does he? Is it? What? Is it a good night? No, I meant. I stopped too drained to explain what I meant to the monster. Rolling on my side, I shuffle around until I get comfortable. My eyes flutter shut as exhaustion takes over. I take a deep breath in. The cold air that fills my lungs is a shock. It isn't yet winter. The weather in the forest has been mild until now. Though when I open my eyes, I see I'm no longer in the forest. Black starscape spans across the entirety of what I can see. In front of me, there's a lone figure, though I can't make out what it is. I look around me and I can see nothing else. The place feels familiar, different. I seem to be floating, but I take a step forward nonetheless. My foot pushes also something below me I cannot see. I move toward the blurry figure. Hello? The figure stands still. As I get closer, I can make out details. A man is back to me. He's looking up to the sky, shaggy hair falling to his shoulders. It feels familiar. I quicken my pace as I continue toward him until I'm only a few feet behind him. I call out again. Hello? This time he hears me. His ears flick as he turns his head. You came back. Came back? It clicks. I saw him in my last dream. He turns his body to face me fully. And as he does, I realize I can see more features of his face than before, but it still isn't entirely clear. I went looking for you. You weren't there. He lets out a hum. An easy, almost smile is across his face. I was there, we just didn't find each other. How do you get away from the monster? His almost smile drops and he tilts his head back. Monster? You didn't see it? He shakes his head as he tilts it back down to me. His hair waves across his face as he moves. I didn't see anything. The almost smile returns, and I frown back. My eyes wander around our surroundings. Nothing above, nothing below, nothing around. It's lonely. Even with somebody standing in front of me, it's lonely. A chill runs down my spine. Something about this place feels odd but familiar. It's dark, cold, empty. Some part of me feels comforted. I look again to the man who stands in front of me and I realize that this is all a dream. This can't be anything but a dream. It's all in my head. Of course you didn't see the monster. You weren't there. Couldn't have been there. This is just some weird dream. I was stupid to think you. I'm stopped by a small laugh. If this is a dream, then I have been dreaming for far too long. I scowl at the man as if he was the one that slighted me. But he can't be. This is my dream. I'm in control. I look down and pinch my arm, cold to the touch. What are you doing? Trying to wake up? Why? Because this is weird? He laughs again. Does telling yourself this is all in your mind make you feel better or worse? I pause at the question. What do you mean? We stare at each other for a moment, his eyes still a blur. I wait for an answer, neither of us move. He says nothing, only smiles his almost smile. My arms fall to my sides as I give in. I can't understand if you're going to speak in riddles. But this is your dream, isn't it? I sigh and frown as I realize my breath is visible. You're right. You're lucky it's just a dream. At least there aren't any monsters in here. His almost smile wavers for a second. I wouldn't be sure about that. My eyes open slowly as I wake, the world first appearing blurry. I sit up and rub my face, open my eyes and see everything in vivid detail. Makes you think of the dream. It was almost lifelike, but not at all real at the same time. Oh, but it felt so real. I rubbed my hand up my arms. They're warm to the touch, but I can still feel the cold that I felt while asleep. I sigh and shake my head as if to clear the thoughts away. Finally surveying the area around me, I realize the monster is gone. I stand in a hurry, eyes darting one spot to the next. He's nowhere to be seen. Mm. Hey! Panic swells in my chest. My breathing becomes rapid. I'm alone. I'm alone. And I don't know where I am. And I'm going to die because I'm alone. Hey! I shout again, louder this time. I step toward the trees, eyes darting from spot to spot in hopes of finding the monster. Hello? I cup my hands to my mouth, shouting again. My eyes widen at the sound, my breath quickens. I back away from the trees, nearly tripping over my own feet. Then the monster steps out of the trees before me. Sigh a breath of relief. Ugh, just you. He stops in front of me, his green eyes boring into mine. You'll be found if you are loud. I look to the ground. He's right. He tosses an object to my feet, and I jump back. Looking down, I realize it's a small, dead animal. A rabbit, maybe? Can't tell. Poor thing is soaked in blood. Uh, Eat. I don't think that. I look back to meet his eyes, expressionless as always. I don't think I can eat that. His head tilts to the side. He crouches down and his eyes meet mine. You must eat. Yeah, but not that. I shake my head and step away from the small creature. He looks confused at the refusal. I have food in my bag. He nods slowly. Then I will eat. His gangly arm reaches towards the baby bunny, and I grimace as I turn toward my bag. I have some rations left, though I can't eat them all. They won't last much longer. I frown but pull the apple from my bag. After, we need to go. I nod, trying to drown out the snapping noises as he digs into his food. It makes it difficult for me to eat my own, but I manage. Evening light shines through the leaves, painting my aching body with orange tones. We've been traveling in silence in the better part of the day. My feet have grown more and more clumsy. We're almost there. I give a small nod and continue, forcing my legs to keep moving. His hand stays lashed around my wrist. It's warm. The forest stinks, and the further we walk, the thicker the stench becomes. It was a sweet scent at first, now it smells of rotten decay and more blood. The silence between us makes the scent difficult to ignore, with nothing to keep my mind off of it. So, he doesn't react to my voice, keeping his pace as if he were ignoring me. There was a woman back at the village. The only response I get back is a grunt. Her name is Anna. She's a priestess. Priestess. He turns to look at me, a frown covering his dark face. She's been seen. She is dangerous. Dangerous? She seemed nice. I give him a confused glance, stumbling over my feet as I try to keep up with his brisk pace. He pauses, waiting for me to catch my footing. She hurts the others. He continues forward once again, slower now than before. Must be for my sake. She's just trying to help them. It's for their own good. His hand tightens around my wrist, almost painful, but it's only a second before he loosens it again. You think they deserve it? I look up at his back, and he doesn't turn to face me as we talk. A trick question, I know it is. I think they deserve to be cured. He grunts, the edge of his lips curling up slightly. If I didn't know better, I would have thought he was snarling at me. They die to be cured. Pause for a moment, not sure if I can continue the conversation. But if there's a cure and she finds it, wouldn't the ones that get cured be better for it? There's a moment of silence between us. Will you die for the cure? What? You are like me. Will you die? His hand tightens around my wrist again. This time it doesn't loosen immediately. I'm like him? I try not to think about the hand that still itches. They also do not want to die. My brows furrow as I continue to stare at his back. His hand loosens again. He seems to nod his head as if to say the conversation is over. She is dangerous. We will stay away from her. I frown, saddened at the thought of avoiding the only other fallow I've seen since leaving my village. Why do you care about the others? All I've seen you do is fight with them. Without you, they listen to me. Oh, if I wasn't here, you wouldn't have to fight them? Are they like a family? Do they get along? I furrow my brows. Every time I learn about the thorn, I get more confused. His hand presses to my wrist, and he gently tugs at my arm. I must have stopped moving. I quicken my pace for a moment before I fall back to the rhythm we had previously. So, we have to stay away from Anna and the others. It's almost like you're trying to keep me to yourself. I let out a small laugh, trying to lighten the ever-heavy mood. I am. His response catches me off guard. I hadn't realized he was capable of joking. Huh, funny. He glances at me, face straight as ever. That was a joke, right? He has an answer. Was it not a joke? Silence. Then the monster stops and tenses, and I almost walk into him. A low growl escapes him as his head whips to the left. My eyes scan the area around us, but I don't see anything. What? He releases my wrists and turns. At the same time, I begin to hear a rustling, like something is running toward us. I go cold. Growling from the monster in front of me grows louder. Another monster flies out of the bushes, running straight for me. Stops short at the sight of the alpha that stands guard. A small growl comes from the monster, and it begins to pace. It looks almost like me, like the other fallow that live in my village. Normal. Its eyes are red, its limbs lanky, antlers twist around each other, but otherwise... The smaller monster walks over to the larger one, staring him in the eye. The alpha stands straight. He's so tall, feels as if his antlers could block out the sun. Take a step back, fear coursing through my veins. At any moment, the smaller monster's head. At my movement, the smaller monster's head whips toward me. A perverse, almost smile painted across its face, and it dives toward me. It doesn't get close enough to accomplish its goal. A large hand swings out, sending the smaller monster flying into a nearby tree. Slams into the bark with a sickening bang, and as it lands on the ground, it shudders and tries to stand. It gives us a glare, a snarl, and then hobbles off, limping. I didn't know I wasn't breathing until I feel my lungs fill with air, burning from the deprivation. The alpha grabs my hand and pulls me forward again, moving at the same pace as before, as if he isn't at all affected by what just happened. Thank you. He lets out a dismissive grunt. A wind blows toward us, and I'm almost overtaken by the stench. Oh my. I cover my face with my free hand, and he turns his head toward me. I feel my stomach flip. We are here. He stops and I look up to the clearing in front of us. There are bodies everywhere. Bodies decomposed, half eaten. Broken ropes spread across the ground and my eyes go wide. This is where the fallow brings sacrifices. The fallow. He really isn't of my kind, is he? Well, I guess I'm no longer a fallow either now. I look to my hand, a frown on my face. I swallow thickly as my eyes get clearing. Sacrifices? But fallow don't. You do not know. The tone of his voice drops lower. His green eyes scan the clearing and I see his body shake, but he stops and looks back at me after a moment. The fallow bring half twisted here. Most do not live longer than a night. My body goes cold. What about those that do live? They become us. Does that mean every monster came from my village? A village somewhere? What about you? He turns, not answering. I find my mind racing, eyes darting between the bodies and the alpha. He stares up at the sky, seeming to think about how to answer me. Finally, he grunts. My memory fades every day. I swallow thickly, gazing across the scene in front of me. I don't want that to happen to me. My voice is quiet, but the monster hears me anyway. You are already one of us. A weight pulls my chest. I'm already one of them. Anna called them thorned. That's why mother told me to leave, to not come back. The monster stands beside me and we're quiet, only for a moment. We need to leave. My eyes follow him as he turns and begins walking away. Where are we going now? Turn away from the field of bodies to follow him. Home. You have a noise from behind us causes us to stop. I turn to face the sound and step back, closer to the monster. Sage? A familiar voice rings out from the trees to our left. My eyebrows look together. Sage, is that really you? A figure steps out from the trees and the monster moves as if to defend me. The person has dirty clothing, ripped, and hair a mess, but I would recognize them anywhere. Mother? I push past and take a few steps forward. What are you? She steps towards me, her arms spread as if to bring me to a big embrace. And as she does, a large shadow falls over me, and a long arm swipes towards her. She lets out a shriek and falls backward. No! I turn to face the monster standing in front of my mother to protect her. She's safe, a friend. He glowers past me, his eyes locked on her. She's my mother. She doesn't want to hurt us. I hear shuffling behind me and turn to look. She's pulled herself up, her eyes never leaving his. Sage? What is that? Her voice is full of distrust. My eyes dart between the two before boring into the monster's. Finally, he crouches, the backs of his hands laying on the floor. He moves his eyes to the ground, then back up to meet my own as if to tell me he'll be good. I turn back to my mother and step toward her, ready to bring her into a hug. She stays frozen in place, her eyes locked on the monster. It's okay, he's a friend. Wrap my arms around her shoulders. She's tense but slowly melts into the embrace. She returns to the hug and buries her head into my neck. I was sure you were dead. Her voice cracks as she speaks, and I can only hug her tighter. As I do, she winces. Are you okay? I let go, my hands resting on her shoulders, and I finally get a good look at her face. Dirty, covered in something that's dark red. Blood? What happened? She sniffles, tears cutting through the dirt. I'm just happy you're okay. She brings me into the hug again. Mother, what happened? I push her away gently, looking for a wound. She brings her hand up and runs across my cheek. You don't need to worry about it, okay? Mother. As her hand moves away from my face, I grab her wrist. Her fingers are caked in blood and dirt. Take a closer look, and even through the grime, I see that she's paler than before. Just a small wound, don't worry. Looking her over, I see a large pool of blood on her shirt. It's dry and tacky, like it's been there for days. What happened? Why are you here? You should be at the village. She shakes her head, smiling. It's all going to be okay. You don't need to worry about any of that. Though, speaking of worries, she looks over my shoulder, eyes falling on the monster. I turn to look at him as well. He's holding a small twig in his hand, carefully trying to pull leaves off. Those nails rip into them before he can pull them off. He looks almost sad when the leaf rips. He's the only reason I'm still alive. I give my mother a reassuring smile. Is that so? She steps towards the monster, seeming more relaxed than before. Thank you for taking care of my sage. She stretches one hand out toward him, the other clutching her wound. The elf stares, then looks at her hand. He tilts his head to the side and slowly mimics her, stretching his hand toward hers. She seems to realize he doesn't know what she wants. She gently grabs his hand in hers and gives it a squeeze. Then she drops it and reaches towards his head, patting down his hair with a gentle smile. He merely watches, green eyes staring into her brown ones. We need to clean your wound. Come on. I step forward and grab her hand, pull her away from the field of bodies. Sage, you need not worry about me. I'll be okay. It doesn't look that way. I continue to pull her forward, moving at a gentle pace. The monster stumbles and stands and lumbers behind us. Mother's eyes flick between looking at where we're going and watching the alpha. It's okay. I reassure her, then stop near a tree. Let's sit here. As I kneel on the ground, the monster swings around. I hear a deep growl, one I haven't heard before. Hey, it's... They are coming. Who's coming? Who are you talking to? What do you mean? What? I turn to face her, confused. Can you not hear him? Hear who? The monster? She looks surprised, as I feel. It talks to you? Then I hear them, footsteps. They're coming fast, and they're running. Sounds like there are many. More than one. I pull my mother behind me, as if I could do anything to protect her. The monster crouches low, arms spread wide as he stands in front of us. Sage, it's okay. It'll be okay. He'll protect us. I'm telling myself more than I am her, I think. The monsters burst from the trees in an explosion of leaves and dirt. Three coming from in front of us and a fourth from the left. One skids to a halt, losing its balance and rolling into a nearby tree. The other three stop in their tracks, sliding a little as they do. One is bipedal, the other three stand on all fours. The bipedal one steps towards the alpha in front of us, baring its teeth with a growl. It stands as tall as it can, as if to intimidate him. He stands straight in return, towering over the smaller monster. The other three circle impatiently behind the bipedal one. One looks more normal than the rest. Antlers still the size of a regular fallow. Its legs twisted slightly at the ankles. Sage, we need to leave. Her voice is quiet, but one of the monsters is still here. Its eyes lock onto my own. Within a moment, it's charging at me. I stand my ground in front of my mother, not sure what else to do. The alpha moves and swipes at the smaller monster, knocking it back towards the others. I take it down. It takes down the bipedal one as it goes, and they get tangled together. They struggle and finally break apart. The bipedal one snaps at the smaller one, baring its teeth before ripping away and charging straight at the alpha. As it charges, the two that hadn't moved yet follow and flank the alpha. The three tackle him, their combined weight bringing him to the ground. He lets out a howl, grabbing one by the shoulder, and pushing it to the ground as he uses the momentum to stand again. I back toward the trees, keeping my mother behind me. We can't leave him. I stand as he fights off the smaller monsters, dark blood flying around them, though I can't tell what belongs to him and what belongs to the others. If we don't leave, we'll die. You'll die. We'll die without him. The monster that isn't attacking the alpha moved towards us again, keeping low to the ground as if trying to sneak past. He grabs the bipedal monster by the throat and squeezes, nails cutting into the flesh before he throws it away from us. He shakes off the other two and jumps towards the small one, tackling it. They roll across the forest floor, leaves and grass sticking to the blood-covered alpha. Sage! Her voice drips with desperation. He can't hold them all off. I'm shaking, tears welling up in my eyes. Four monsters attack the alpha, and he's barely fending them off. I have to help, but there's nothing I can do. Then I feel my mother pass me by. I reach out to grab her arm, but I miss and stumble. Mother? Monsters! He shouts loud, her voice ringing out. Take so you can get them out of here. The alpha rolls, shaking two of the monsters off him. He grabs the other two and slams their heads together before dropping them. They stand quick, shaking their heads and snarling. Then the alpha backs towards Mother and I. What are you? I stand and rush towards Mother, but the alpha turns and grabs me before I can reach her. She reaches towards her wound, ripping her shirt up and causing it to bleed again. Her eyes lock into mine and she smiles. You need to live, Sage. I love you. Mother! I push against the alpha, but he's too strong. My eyes heat with tears. I bury my face into the alpha's bloody, matted fur. We sit in silence and I stare at the bark of the tree I'm in. He found a safe place for us, a tree with a hollowed out bottom. He sits just outside on guard, as I'm meant to be resting. I wipe tears from my cheeks, crying will only dehydrate me, and I don't have water. Staring at the monster's back, I realize I don't have anything to call him. What's your name? My voice comes out strained. The monster falters for a moment, then shuffles and turns his head to me. I do not have one. You don't? My eyes scan over his hulking figure, realizing most of his size is due to the mutated twisted antlers adorning his body. Then I'll call you Twist. He looks down to the ground before turning his back to face away from me. When, his, when he speaks, his voice is quiet. I have not had a name in a long time. Hope you don't mind, Twist. He merely grunts in response, and I let out a small yawn, exhausted from the day and the tears. I'll be going to sleep now. You should get some rest too. Another grunt. Good night. Good night. I feel cold again, familiar. My eyes open, and as expected, I'm surrounded by this starscape. I'm here, looking around. I'm alone. Wonder if he's here too. I take a step forward and shiver. It's the bottoms of my feet pressed against the cold floor. There's nothing around. I spin in a circle and catch sight of something, anything, but still there's nothing. A sigh and a puff of smoke drifts past my vision. Bumps form across my skin as I shiver again. It's cold. I decide to move, to walk anywhere and get warm. My hands are up and down my arms, hoping the motion will keep my blood flowing. As I walk, the stars stay in the same place. They don't get any closer or further away. It's strange, as if I'm not going anywhere. Then out of the corner of my eye, I see something. I turn to face it and squint, but can't make it out. What do you have to lose? I start toward the object, feeling comforted by having a goal in mind. As I get closer, I hear a faint thumping, trickling. I keep my pace, hoping that before long I'll be able to figure out what it is. Trickling gets louder, and even though it's still barely a whisper, it feels like it's screaming against the silent, cold starscape. A tree with what seems to be a stream next to it. Well, that's odd. Is it? I jump at the voice, already used to the silence. You're here. That's not any way to greet someone. He's a playful smile painted across his face. Sorry. He chuckles, sips out of me. Come, let's sit. I nod my head, though his back is to me, and follow his lead. He walks towards the tree, then sits beside a rock, toes in the stream. I sit beside him, knees crawling to my chest. It's cold. I look around us at the rocks, the moving trees. It's eerie. Leaves are still as can be. I frown up at them, then towards my companion. He's staring at the sky, looking at nothing in particular. It's quiet, and I've never felt so before. Do you like being here? I'm almost caught off guard by his voice. I shuffle in place, moving my legs to sit more comfortably. It's lonely. Yes, it is. He nods solemnly and a frown on his face. We sit in silence, the only sound being the trickling of the river. Though it seems more like a creek now. The water flows through some small stones, pushing past blades of grass and through reeds. Seems familiar. Oh, this creek, it's just like the one that ran through my village. It's nice dreaming of home. Home. His voice is quiet and I can hear a hint of a smile in it. You should tell me about your home. What do you want to know? Anything, everything, whatever you would like to tell. I rest my arms on my knees and press my chin to them. So much to tell him, but also so little. It was peaceful during the day, and at night, the monster came and attacked. You could hear it scratching at walls, howling. Sometimes it would take people and we'd never see them again. The nights the monster never came were my favorite. Those nights we could hear the creek trickling peacefully, the night bugs singing their song, the wind blowing through our roof. I smiled to myself, watching the water flow in a moment of peace. Then in the morning, we'd have breakfast together, and I'd fetch Mother and I some water from the well in town. And she would help me wash my hair, and I would help her in return. The well, the one that everybody carves their names into. How did you know that? I'm shocked, he's right. His little smile drops for the first time. He looks just as confused as I feel. I don't know. I can just see it and feel it. I remember it. I carved my name into it once with somebody dear to me. What's your name? He stares at me face blank, frowns and shakes his head, shaggy hair brushing against his forehead. I can't remember. I squint, staring at his face, trying to make out details. If he's from my village, I should know him, right? If I could just see his... When I wake, the forest is dark and quiet, and I hardly notice the stench of decay anymore. I sit up slowly and scan the area, looking for Twist. To the right of the tree, I see a large lump, which I can only assume is him. Twist? I can see the light peeking over the treetops. The sun must be rising. Then I hear a gentle scratching, like somebody is rubbing a rock over another rock. I pull myself out of the tree, trying to be quiet as I stretch. Twist? I whisper towards the beast, but he doesn't answer. He's laying on his side, and his shoulders move as he breathes. I walk over and sit in front of him. Notice his hand is moving. His nails are scraping across the stones that he's sleeping on in an odd pattern. I watch, trying to see if there's something I can recognize, but it's unfamiliar. Hey, I think it's time to wake up. He stirs, sleep before his eyes open. He sits up and his gaze meets my own. Were you dreaming too? Dreaming? Don't you know what a dream is? He sits silent. I guess not. We should be going. Yes. He stands, grabbing my arm as he does, pulling me up. Let us go, okay? By now I'm used to him grabbing my arm, pulling me along. Feels safer than just walking side by side. His warm hand on my wrist has become comforting. We walked for at least a few hours. Twist has been silent, more than usual. Where are... He lets out a growl. Sounds as if he's shushing me. We walk a few more steps, my feet aching, having to step over stones and branches. A little further, my feet give out. I tumble to the forest floor, landing on my knees. Twist stops, halted by my fall, as he's still holding my wrist. He turns to look at me, his face shadowed over by the lack of light. A chill runs down my spine. Terror fills my body for a moment before I remind myself that he's been taking care of me. Sorry, my feet hurt. I feel like a young child whining about being sore after a day of work. Twist lets go of my wrist and crouches down to my level. I expect him to speak, but he merely begins playing with the pebbles. Picks up a pebble, drops it on top of another one, picks up the pebble he just dropped, lines it up, and drops it onto another. Almost reminds me of a game I used to play with him. I watch him curiously, wondering where he came up with the small habit, then begin to massage my sore and tired calves. He stops playing with the pebbles and watches me, a curious glint in his eyes. Don't you get sore? I am used to the forest. That's not what I asked. His eyes bore into mine. I shake my head and let out a tired laugh. To question him felt pointless. Bath would be nice. Looking up at the dusky sky, I realize I've lost track of how long I've been away from the village. Bath? His head tilts like a confused child. Yeah, that would be nice. What is a bath? Well, that makes sense. He's filthy. Bath is when you clean yourself with water and soap. Soap? His eyes bore into mine. Soap is animal fat and sounds tasty. No, I chuckle. Makes you clean. I dig my fingers into my feet, massaging them as we talk. There's a river nearby. Come. He stands towering over me as I slowly follow. I'm actually going to call it here for tonight and pick up this playthrough next time. Because it's already pretty late and I'm very tired and have a lot to do. I kind of wanted to just get to an ending tonight, but I'm too tired to do that, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to say goodnight and I will see you again another time, and hope everybody is well and warm and safe. If you are watching, I hope you enjoy it. So, yep, that's gonna have to be it for now. And sorry that the cat wasn't nearby, or I would have shown you him and gave him lots of pets and kisses and cuddles on stream, but he is off somewhere else. So, good night and be well.